to a first video on Android tutorial. I'm going to be your instructor or your trainer. This is IC Crew Training Enterprise. This is going to be our very first Android video. My name is Jonah Juzie, and this is the platform through which we are going to produce series of videos on each of the programming courses that you have selected to learn with us. So the videos are going to be short, they're going to be brief, but they're going to be very self-explanatory in such a way that you'll be able to understand some of the basic things that we are going to teach you. And we're going to upload each of these videos sequentially on our YouTube channel for each of the programming languages that you all intend to learn. So what you're going to do is watch the video, and after watching the video, if you have any questions or anything that you're not really clear about, go to the YouTube link where we are going to send to you that you're going to download this video from. Type a comment there about anything that you don't understand, or anything that we probably must have skipped, or anything that we didn't explain well enough to your understanding, and immediately, either through a video or through a one-on-one WhatsApp conversation, we'll be able to offer thorough explanation in such a way that you'll be able to understand the questions through which you are asking. Also, we're going to have a one-on-one live training with either any one of the students who, for some reasons, they are unable to follow along with the video and they need a one-on-one practical session. That is going to be on a request basis. You just make a request and we'll be able to offer such a video to be able to explain something that you really do not understand. Now, be confident that we already have the knowledge and the skills to train you adequately and sufficiently through the course of any programming language that you want to learn with us. We're going to do some practicals, we're going to give you project assignments, things you're going to do, and you're going to submit them in a way as a way of carrying you along and ensuring that what we are teaching you, you are able to practicalize them by using them to solve problems and design some different applications. So to get started, you're welcome once again to our first video on Android programming. Now what you're seeing in the background there is the Android IDE. Okay, that's the IDE we're going to use to be writing Android application. Now there are different IDEs out there, and by IDEs, these are tools that people use to write Android programming applications. There are different types of them out there, so you're free to use any of them in which you are conversant with and you are familiar with. There's Eclipse. What you're currently seeing now is Android Studio. This was currently designed by Android with Google support for and strictly for Java programming. Okay, with Eclipse you can design C++, Java, Android, and many other programming languages with Eclipse, but Android Studio, as you can see, is specifically for programming Android. Now let's get started on the very basic and fundamentals before you even reach this stage. Now Java is based, or it's built on, Android is built on Java, meaning that before you can install this IDE or any other IDE in which you're going to use to program Android, the first and the basic thing you need to get is a Java JDK. You need to install a JDK on your system, Java Development Kit. Okay, presently, going to my control panels, these are the JDKs that I'm using. Okay, Java 8 update 7.3. My system is a 64-bit system, so that's why it's a 64-bit version, and this comes along with it. So be sure to go online, check on Google, type on Google, download Java JDK. Okay, from JDK version 6, you can see this is version 8. Okay, now Android supports from version 6 and above. Those are the Java JDKs that Android works with. So try to download any of them, install them on your system, and by install you just click next until the installation is finished. Most of you who are familiar with installing softwares, you already know what I mean. So just click the next button until the installation is complete. That is the very first and important thing that you need to do in order for you to start preparing your system to program Android. Now, right after installing Java JDK, you need to set your environment variables, because most likely that is not going to be there. Now, if your installation of the Java JDK is successful, if you go to your C drive and then go into your program files and then to your Java folder, you're going to see these two folders, okay? The JDK folder and the JRE folder. These are the two folders that you'll find inside your Java folder in the program files to confirm that your installation has been successful. Without that, your installation is not successful, because these paths are going to be referenced in your environmental variables when you're setting those environmental variables. What do I mean by environmental variables? Let me show you that in a bit. If you go to your control panel, click on System and Security, and by the way, this is Windows 10 I'm using. Just in case there are any differences in the Windows that you're using, be sure to look out for some of these things that I'm clicking. Take notes: control panel, then System and Security, then you click on System, and once you click on System, you click on Change Settings. Okay, that's the path through which I get to my own environment variable. So once you click on the Change Settings, it brings up this dialog, or what you might want to call it. Then you click on the Advanced tab. Okay, on the Advanced tab, you now see Environment Variables. Click on that Environment Variables. Okay, now on the Environment Variables, as you can see, these are all the system variables that has been set on the system as you installed each and every different application or software. Now you can see this is my Java variable that has been set on my system. Okay, so should in case you don't have anything Java on your system variables, either here or here, then you now have to configure that manually. Ideally, this is supposed to have been done as you're installing the JDK. The JDK is supposed to have set up these environment variables automatically for you, but if that has not happened, all you have to do is click on New. Okay, when you click on New, you can type in the Java home, all caps. That's a way of setting the variables. Then the variable value here is you're going to reference the JDK folder which was installed at the moment when you were installing JDK. So let's go back and see and copy the folder path. So you go to your C, your program files, you go to your Java folder, and then to your JDK folder. Okay, now to copy this path now, which you're going to use in the environment variables, all you have to do is click on this link and you see them already highlighted for you, and then you can Control C, press Control C to copy the path that already has been highlighted for you. Then right after you've done that, click on then paste the path here, and then just click your OK. So I'm not going to click OK since I already have it. I'm just showing you how to set your own Java environment variables on your system. So once you click OK, the Java variable would have been assigned to your system. Okay, so once you do that, you click on OK, and then you click on OK, and then you can be sure that you have set your Java variable, environment variable. Now we go to the almighty and ultimate installation of Android Studio. Okay, now in order for you to install this Android Studio, you're gonna have to visit the Android website, which is here, and in order for you to get, you can just either you can copy this URL, developer.android.com/studio/index.html. You can copy that and then paste this on your browser's link and then direct yourself to this site. Or you can simply open Google and then type download Android Studio, and then the first link that will come out there will be a link. I think still have a version of it here. Yeah, you can just type Android Studio. You'd see the first link that will come out will direct you to this site. So if you click on this, it will definitely take you to that Android Studio site. Pardon me, I'm currently offline, so that's why it's not showing. It's not showing directly as it was showing at first before I clicked on the back button. Okay, but as you can see, initially when I was there, you'll see a download button there, a download Android Studio button 3.0 phone. It will automatically detect kind of system you're using, if you're using a Mac system or if you're using a Windows system, and then you can go ahead to download. So it's a big file, so it's likely going to take a long while before your download is complete. Okay, but once your download is complete, you can just go to where you have the installable file. For me, this is the installable file. After it was downloaded, you can see the size of it, 1.2 something gig. Okay, it's quite large. It's quite large. So you double click on it, and then as you can see, the Android installation setup commences. So it's going to take a long while for this Android Studio to finish installation. But basically, all you're just gonna have to do is click next, click next, click next. Anywhere you see next, you just click next. There isn't really anything you need to do. Okay, now once the installation is complete, it will bring out a prompt that has, okay, I already have the Android Studio on my system. That's why it's giving me this notification message that Android Studio is currently running. Please exit the application and press OK to continue with the installation. So I'm going to cancel it because I already have Android running on my own system. So once you install and then you click next, allow the installation process to run on its own. You don't interfere with it. Once it's done with the installation, I think there are a couple of there's some dialog prompts that it will show. One of them will have something to do with, okay, set proxy or cancel. You click on the cancel. Okay, do not select the proxy button that it's going to show you. Anything proxy that it's going to show you, it's going to give you two buttons. Select the other one that cancels the proxy, and then another button that will come up that will likely ask you that you should import settings and you should not import settings. Click on the second button that is highlighted, the second radio button that is selected by default. Just click on that. Okay, let it not import any settings. It will proceed. Then you now see a small size box, something of this size, the size of my mouse moving. And then once that box comes out, you see about 6 different options. Click on the first one that has to do with start a new project. Okay, now once you do that, eventually you will now arrive at this background or this environment. Okay, so once you've arrived at this environment, then you have successfully installed your Android Studio. Okay, now in the course of the installation, you might see some error messages appearing somewhere here. You'll see some something not okay. They could say some files are not okay. You don't have to worry, or you don't have to panic. All you have to do is go online, connect your PC to the internet, close the Android Studio and launch it all over again. And Android Studio will try to synchronize itself and then get the essential things it needs online in order to clear those errors and then set you up successfully. All right, now I did promise that I'm not going to make these videos too long, because in online trainings like this, you have to make the videos short and brief, though concise and self-explanatory, but it has to be short in order not to make the listener drowsy. So give or take, in the next 2, 3, 4, at most 5 minutes, I'll be done with this video. Okay, so please kindly follow along with me patiently. All right, Now, if this isn't open already, okay, let me open a new one. Sorry, my stuff is taking a bit of a while to respond. So sometimes you can see a default application that already has been opened for you when you created a new Android studio. Okay, a new Android project. It could be a default, hello, welcome kind of thing, because as you can see here, this is a default Android app that basically says hello world. Okay, let me zoom in a bit. Yeah, so this is a simple default Android app that displays hello world. So it usually comes out by default, but if you want to create your own project, which we're going to do, which I'll advise you to do, just click on file here, click on new project, because in the course of our Android training or programming, we're going to work on a lot of applications in order to carry you along and ensure that you really get this registered. So let's give the project a name. Let's call it what do we call it? Android demo. Okay, Android demo. I hope that's okay. So this is a company domain. For those of you who are about to, if you want to create an Android application or Android project that you're eventually going to launch on Play Store for users, for people to use, download, and make use of it, you're gonna have to make sure that you set these informations once and for all, because once you set this information and then click on the next button and then the project loads itself, you cannot in any way alter any of these two informations again. So you're gonna have to make sure that this is ideal in such a way that it does not clash with any other application on Play Store that has a similar name. There should be no form of similarity. That is why Android, as much as possible, comes up with a bunch of default names, just to ensure that the link to your application, when you eventually launch it on Play Store, it does not coincide by any chance with any other person's application name. So this is going to be the link, icecrew.example.com, and then this is the name of your application, Android demo. Okay, so assuming you agree with that, click on next. Now clicking on next brings you to this particular section. We want to create applications that will launch on phone and tablet. Okay, there are different other areas where Android programming or Android projects could be launched on. It could be launched on an Android Wear device, could be launched on an Android TV. That's by Android Wear, you mean Android wristwatches. There are some wristwatches today that carry Android applications, the small. So our application is going to be strictly for phones and tablets. Then you get to set the minimum SDK for which your Android is going to run. Okay, today if you look at your mobile phone, if you have an Android mobile phone and you go to settings, Android, check version, you'll see different Android has different versions. You can have version 6, you can have version 5, version 4, version 7, version 8. I think version 8 is currently the most recent. Okay, so what this means there is that you're gonna have to choose the minimum version on which your app is going to run on. Okay, the minimum SDK and the minimum Android version in which your app is going to run on, because versions that are as low as version 2, version 3, those are really old Android devices, and most times, most applications today, the sophistication that comes with it does not support Android versions that have mobile phones that are in those era. No, so you get to choose which. You can see starting from version 1, you have version 1.1, version API 3, Android 1.5, API 4, Android 1.6. It goes all the way down. Okay, so by default, Android positions Version 4 seems to have as much compatibility with all the other higher versions, though not completely, but version 4 is a bit widely used. As you can see, it says lower API level targets more devices but have fewer features available. So the lower your version, the lower your API level, the more devices you get to use, because majority of people have devices or mobile devices that run a lower version of Android. It's only few people that have mobile devices that run the higher versions of Android, okay, because those are costly, so many people cannot afford it. So it will have the lower the level, the lower the features, but the higher the level, the higher the features that it can support. So by targeting API 15 and later, your app will run on approximately 93.7% of the devices that are active on Google Play Store. So those are things you need to consider. So if you're okay with okay, take for example, if you select Android version 3.0 API 11, this one is API, take note, this is API 15 version 4.0.3. so if you were to pick API 11 version 3.0, you can see that lower API targets more devices but have fewer features available. Okay, you don't get to have too many features. Now by targeting API 11 and later, your app will run on approximately 97.3% of the devices that are active on Google Play Store. But imagine what would happen if we were to select API 23 version 6.0. okay, you can see lower API levels target more devices, but okay, the same message. But now it's saying by targeting API 23, which is this, and later, your app will run on approximately 1.3% of the devices that are active on the Google Play Store. So that means you will not have many users on the Google Play Store being able to download your application, because it already has a higher version. Okay, it already has a higher Android version, which majority of people who download applications in the Play Store may not be able to support. So let's stick with the API 15 version 4.0.3 that Android gives you, and then click on next. I simply hope you would have understood the explanation I gave, but should in case you don't, like I mentioned, feel free to drop a question on the YouTube channel. Okay, now we come to this particular portal. Okay, this one has to do with the activity, the complexity of the activities that we are going to make use of in our Android project, and how we want your Android application to look on the phone. If you notice today, like take for example applications such as WhatsApp, which other one, Gmail, you'll notice that the layout in which things are positioned in the screen, that they are slightly different. Okay, that is as a result of choosing any of the different style of activities that you are provided here. Okay, you have basic activity, you have empty activity, full screen activity. So those are going to affect the way and manner in which certain your Android app will look like. Basically that's it. It's going to affect the way your Android app, the things that are going to appear on your Android app, the things that are not going to appear on your Android app, some features that will be there and not. So for the sake of our first introduction, usually by default we go with empty activity, and you select an empty activity. As we progress in the course of our Android programming and training, we'll be able to explore some of these other activities and then see what they eventually look like or what they do. All right, click on next. So you now come to this portal. So what it wants you to do here is for you to give your activity a name. Okay, give your activity a name. By default it calls it main activity. Okay, and then you can see the layout name will be activity main. Okay, now generate a layout file. Yeah, you're gonna have to click on this. You're gonna have to click on this. Otherwise, if you don't click on this, this is the programming, this is the area. This one will be, this main activity will be the section where you're going to write program codes, Android program codes that will affect the activities that will go on this screen. Whereas these are going to be the Android XML XML section where you're going to write XML codes that will affect the components that will appear on this activity screen. We'll look into that as we progress. And click on finish, and then once you do that, it's gonna take a while. Your application will be loading, but once it is done loading, that is when you see things like this. Okay, the application name will come out, you'll see the paths, and then you'll see the activity main that will provide you the XML codes for you to be able to position components. For example, for this previous project that was open, this is one of such components that just simply greets you with the message hello world. And then this is another component that simply has a message about the title of the application, that is just my application. So this section, if you can remember from the settings, this activity main, this will control, as you can see, these are all the components that are going to be available for you to make use of to position in your Android application in anywhere you want them to. So these are all the applications that we are going to have to work with. Whereas unfortunately, as this guy is still loading, nothing will respond on the Android Studio unless this guy finishes his loading and then eventually disappears. Now this is the main activity section where you're going to write Android program codes to control the activities of each of these buttons, to respond to a click, to respond to a scroll, to display something and do stuff like that. So I'm going to want to have to stop here just to make the video a bit short and self-explanatory. What we're going to do now is, when next we come, we'll still offer some more insights on what the whole Android Studio is all about. As you can see, the new project we created, it just finished loading. Okay, this is what I was trying to tell you about, that these are where you are now going to be writing Android codes that will affect each and every component or button that is positioned here. As you can see, this is a component, like I mentioned. You can see this is the name of the component. This is the text view component. Okay, that's the second project that we just created loading. So this is a text view component, and the text view component has the words hello world. Okay, so these are XML codes. If you click on the text section of it, these are the XML codes that are controlling whatever appears on the Android screen. Okay, whatever appears on the Android screen, they will all have XML codes to back it up. So you can see this is the XML code section that affects this text component here. Okay, as a matter of fact, I think if you click on it, it's okay, not really highlights, but it shows you that this is the component that is here. So if I were to change this hello world out there, or write any other thing additionally to it, you could see that it will reflect here. So these are XML codes that will control the appearance and whatever appears, okay, on the screen of your Android application. Whereas these ones will contain program codes that will affect the behavior and the actions performed when you interact with any of these components. For example, if I were to want to click on this, and want it to do something, that is where I will that's where I'll have to specify the behavior in which it's going to have to. We'll discuss more about this in the next video when we come. So for now, I want to believe I've been able to introduce you adequately to some of the fundamental things that you need to know about Android, and then get started. And like I mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them on the Android channel and I'll respond to them to sweet. So thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to having you on our next Android